How's it going? Alex Spicer from Central Track. Be going live with Leah Lane from Rosegarden Funeral Party. Oh, and she's here. Cool. Right on time.
Hello.
Hi.
I try to be punctual.
I appreciate it. How's it going?
Absolutely. It's going as good as it can. I think everyone's going crazy.
Yeah.
But,
You look
yeah.
fancy.
Huh?
You look fancy.
Oh, thank you. I tried. Like every day of quarantine, I'm like, you have to get up, you have to make your bed, you do your makeup. I've been really trying to not.
Good.
It helps me have like a sense of what day it is. And also like I've been lucky. I've been going to work most of the time. So.
Oh, that's good. You guys are because you work at Tone Top, right?
I do. The best place in the whole world. Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys are still open through all of this?
No, not through all of it. I mean, we shut down for a little bit, but we did, like a couple online sales, and then we did like curbside pickup and stuff like that. But we're back open now. So
Right on. Good. I kind of just want to catch up, and I know that this has been kind of hard on you because live performances are such a big part of not just, music in general, but especially what Rosegarden Funeral Party does. So, how's you hanging in there? How's it going?
it's been really, really hard. Yeah, definitely playing live is our favorite thing, and like we haven't played Dallas in a very long time. We like got off the road and we didn't have a homecoming show, and before we went on. Someone called me. It's Alex's fault. Yeah. So yeah, it's been really weird, and it's not just even the shows. It's like we can't play, like we can't have obituary. So like our house is closed down, and so we've got like this room and all these corners of the house that just feel so vacant to be without, music and people and life. And I don't know. I think it's definitely made it pretty easy to lose like our sight of our long-term goals because everything feels like it's fallen apart. I don't know, but I work really hard to stay positive and to keep fight in my spirit and all of that. So I don't know. It's been rough. That was roundabout. Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's.
The live shows have helped so much. Like, I definitely want to say that. Like, doing the live shows with Quarantine TV, which the first time we shot that, I called it COVID TV both times. And they were like, it's Quarantine TV. And I was like, what did I say? And I'm like, COVID TV. I'm like, oh, that was bad. But no, like, that was amazing. And, like, big thank you to Blake for doing that. And then also, Scott Beggs let us do a single release show at Three Links that was live streamed, and that was amazing. And that kind of set forth like Three Links doing live stream sets, so that's awesome. Like I love seeing that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I remember even back when we talked. I interviewed you too long before all of this happened at the end of February, and I remember you telling me how live performances are really like such like the heart of what Rosegarden. That's where you thrive.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why you were one of the people I wanted to catch up with on here, because I know that this is really taking a toll on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a really you're forward about your emotions. You're a very emotional person. So I know that not being able to do what you love more than anything is probably really hard on you.
Yeah, I mean it's been heartbreaking, especially. I feel like I like recenter myself and rebalance going to shows and playing shows, and I feel like a lot of people get that out of music, and so it's definitely been a destabilizing experience to go without that for so long, and then know that it's going to be one of the last things to come back is difficult too. It's hard for me to get excited like about any shows that we get offered because there's no way to see where this is going and how long it's going to last. So yeah, it's definitely been a fight with dread and a fight with despair and a fight with my like inner pessimist, but I'm trying really hard to like do the things that I can do. We recorded an EP. We really didn't have plans to do that. And I think like I just wanted to do something. And it was funny because we did it the first week of quarantine and then we were like, now what do we do? And of course we did it with Michael Briggs, so it was mixed like the next day. And perfect. But I don't know. It's scary. It's a scary time. And I feel for every musician right now, and especially also like all the people that go into making live music what it is. Because like Vera, Vicious Veldma, my best friend in the world, working from my house. Like she does a real estate photography job during the day, and I was like, I don't want you to like be separated from all your friends, dude. Like you're a really social person. So like at the beginning of quarantine, I was like, just set up all your work stuff. When they made them start working from home, I was like, just set it all up in our office that we have at the house. And so she's been here the whole quarantine, and she's a photographer, and she lives going to shows and shooting shows and for that energy. And I think there's so much beauty and fulfillment and just wholesomeness in the fact that people go to shows to all get together to listen to music and hang out with friends and like drink and have a good time. It was fun. I mean, not everybody drinks, but you know what I mean. Like it's at a bar. But so I think that there's something beautiful and refreshing about that not only musicians are missing, but yeah.
Totally. It's the entire community, and like I said, it probably is going to be the very last thing to come back. That's what sucks more than anything about this is the good stuff is going to be at the tail end of reopening. So that is a big bummer. Do you guys live together, you and all the Rosegarden boys?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, in our weird vampire house.
I can tell it looks it looks fancy. It's cool.
It's not. It's trickery. It's the fact that I meticulously painted it, even though we're renting it, and I have a whole bunch of like really old dusty furniture from the '60s that I find on like Letgo.
Oh, okay.
I swear by it. If paint on the walls, dark lit rooms. Like normally this room is like. I only have the light on for you. It's normally like this. Like I'll make like a few lamps. So I don't know. There's ways to make it look fancy, but this room is special with like the trim. We walked in and I was like, and this will be the venue. And like Dylan rolled his eyes. So,
how long do you guys live together?
We've lived together for almost, well, I guess not almost a year, no, but it'll be a year in August.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Or September. I don't know. I'd have to check. I don't remember. My friend Chris said, "Don't lie, Leah. It's gorgeous and fancy." She's obviously falling for the illusion. It's like a 70s, or maybe 80s, like just family, cookie cutter home that they made, surplus population kind of thing. Back in the. We are. Do you know where? Like Garland?
Yeah.
We're right on the edge of Garland. We're by Murder Texaco.
Okay.
Do you know where Murder Texaco is?
I do not know, but we had a Murder Kroger. I moved from Denton, and we had a Murder Kroger, so I can figure out what that means.
Dude, like I think it's something like 4 people die there a week. It's like it's insane. It's a heroin like outfit. Like yeah, it's crazy. When we first moved over here, like Will saw people just firing guns in the air, just like driving past it like the first week. And Dylan and I were out of town, and Will calls us, and he seems distressed. And we're like, "What's going on, buddy?" And he's like, "Nothing." And we're like, "How are you doing?" And he's like, "Not well." just not used to it. It's like, what is... Sorry, my cats are like racing around beneath
you. I hear my dog barking. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that you guys live together, but that's gotta make making the music pretty easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be better if I wasn't so bummed and Will wasn't so bummed and Dylan wasn't so bummed. It feels like, you know, we like to take a little bit between writing, like, or especially I do. Like, I don't like to just continuously write because then I feel like all my music sounds the same. So like this next EP that we're going to be releasing sounds a lot different than Martyr. And if I was to continue to write right now, it would just sound the exact same as the EP, which I don't, you know, yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to evolve. And then rehearsing is hard on us emotionally because we're like, what are we rehearsing for?
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah, no, I can totally see how that would be a mind fuck.
Because we lost so much, like, at the beginning of all this. We really thought that, like, this was going to be our year. And I feel like a lot of people felt that way. Like, I've seen a lot of memes about that. So,
well,
like,
that's, you know, I know a lot of people feel that way, but just speaking from my own, you know, outlook on everything, Rosegarden really was kind of like having you guys had a great 2019. And things were really picking up for you guys. So it does suck that this came at a time when you guys were really, I don't want to say breaking through, but kind of...
It felt like that. It really did start to feel like that.
Yeah, it really felt like you guys were on the cusp of you know, really about to take it further. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we had just landed like a tour with Pigface that we were going to go on. And then after we were like 90% confirmed to 90%. It wasn't all the way, but it was like, it was a definite maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we were going to support Bauhaus on like 3 of their US states. Yeah. So it was right here, and then all of a sudden it was just gone.
That's
so it's definitely been like it's been good, I think, because it keeps us rational and it keeps our heads small and it keeps us working. And I keep telling the boys, like, we just need to keep our heads down, not look at the world around us, and just work when we get depressed. Because, you know, I want to come out of this doing something good. I want to come out of this with some substance. So we just got to keep working, you know?
Yeah, no, it's weird. I've seen so much like conversation about, especially for creative people, you know, one side of the coin is like, oh my, you know, this should be the most like productive time because what else do you have to do? But other people are like, no, man, like I'm not feeling inspired at all.
Yeah, I personally am not in the vein that's like, this is the most productive I've ever been with music. Like, I just stare at my acoustic and like kind of like it's like, it makes me a little mad. I saw Jordan Richardson post for Son of Stan posted, it's okay to not feel creative right now. And my heart nearly bursted with happiness. I was like, thank you, someone. Because everyone, that was when quarantine just started. And like, no one was, I was freaking out, like losing my mind, like crying every day. And I hadn't like settled in with the rest of my bandmates yet, I don't think. And because I've also got like a tinfoil hat strapped to my head, like I'm also crazy. So like I'm terrified. But like, yeah, they didn't get it. And then, I don't know. I just kind of slowly, I think, strengthened and they freaked out. I don't know, I lost my train of thought thinking about my tinfoil hat. Anyway.
No, I'm right there with you. I don't feel, I'm lucky that I've been able to work through all of this.
Same.
But I don't, it feels like I'm working, and I don't want it to seem like I'm complaining because, like I said, you know, I feel lucky to have a job, but I feel like I'm working twice as much, and I don't feel like creative or inspired, even just, you know, with Central Track. It feels like a beating. But it's because of, you know, shit's crazy right now, and you can't, as hard as you try, you can't you can ignore it maybe, for an hour, for a day, but
Right.
it never goes,
There's never a moment of solace. There's
yeah.
like, especially, I mean, and I don't even mean the fact that like it constantly gets worse. Like, like a political figure will do something stupid, or there'll be like killer bees from, like other worlds, like, attacking our bees. Like, I mean, it's like, it does, even that aside, like, you can't go online. You can't scroll through Instagram or Facebook. I can't even use Shopify at Tone Shop without seeing COVID-19, like, just popping up in Shopify or in, like, Reverb, like, where, like, I mean, everybody sees it on Facebook and Instagram and, I mean, whatever else the kids use. I'm only on Facebook and Instagram. But I don't know. I feel like there's no way to escape it, and so there's no real way to, like, actually reach, like a normal feeling. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I totally agree with you.
Will, every time Will coughs, Will goes, it's nothing to worry about, it's just a dry cough and a fever. It's really funny. Anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. No, it's definitely been it's been hard, but I'm glad that you're at least you recorded an EP. That's good news, at least, right?
I think it's really good. Some of my friends that I've shown it to are like, it'll take me a little while to get used to, which I don't know how to take, but
it must be
I think it's good.
Really different than from other stuff you guys have done, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I'll send it to you. You get leaks.
Okay, cool, yeah.
But it is my favorite thing I've ever done. It's the boys' favorite thing we've ever done.
Cool.
It's just, yeah. I think that it's probably weird for us to move on from a record we literally spent 2 years building up, and then we like release Martyr and then immediately flip around and do an EP. And it's just because of the state of the world, and like I feel sorry for Martyr, like as a record. I feel like I held on to it too long because I wanted it to be perfect, and I should have realized that it was never going to be perfect, and I just needed to put it out. And then, we were going to tour it, and it dissolved. So it's, I feel sorry for it, but it'll be okay. It was a lot of work for not.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that you worked yourself to the bone trying to get that one out. So, but it's interesting that you tell me you were kind of like a perfectionist with it. I can relate to that by holding on to things probably longer than, I guarantee you, if Pete is watching, he would tell you the same thing with all my work. But with Deep Red, I want to talk to you about Deep Red because I'm a huge Deep Red fan. You seem to be like the opposite. You're like, we just gotta go for it. We gotta put it out. The world has to hear it. So what do you think is the difference between? Why do you think that is?
I'm a control freak, and so is Scott. So in order for two control freaks to be in the band, one of them's gotta just chill. And so like, I've decided to just be a control freak about a cat. I've decided to just be a control freak about the fact that we're just having fun. It's good. It's supposed to just be a cathartic experience where we release our emotions. And Scott, you got to put it out. So I don't know. And I also think that Rosegarden Funeral Party is so, like, especially Martyr, that record, I was really, really trying to say something with that record. And I think that it was also the first record that I wrote cover to cover. Like, I wrote every song on it. And it was the first record that I did where I played all the guitar tracks. And I was terrified. So I think that... Huh?
Did you feel like you had something to prove?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Especially because I had a producer tell me, like, that when I sent him Martyr, he was like, it sounds different than the chopping block. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, did a member change? And I was like, yes, we got rid of our guitar player, the one that I had dated. And I was like, he was like, oh, well, you lost something when you lost him. And I was like, oh, like, so putting out Martyr, like, I felt like I had something to prove to everyone.
Yeah. I didn't know about all that other stuff. That's wild. Well,
yeah. There was one really
worked out.
rough. What?
Well received, so it worked out anyway.
Yes, it did. It definitely did. But yeah, Deep Red is. I also trust Scott so much, and I believe in Scott's vision so much. And Scott and I have never. Scott takes my very simplistic, bare bone ideas and turns them into just orchestras. Like, I mean, it's incredible. So I don't know. I've never felt a reason to raise a hand to Scott's opinion or whatever, because I mean we're just very in sync. But
yeah. So for those of you watching, Leah is she's the front person for Rosegarden Funeral Party, and then she's also in Deep Red with.
I feel like I have to relay.
Scott White of Duel, and Deep Red is still in its infancy. Rosegarden.
Yeah, that was another giant bummer of the quarantine. Is that like Deep Red had booked its first show. Like Deep Red had its first show booked, and it was going to be at the Granada.
They told me about that. So at the music honors, I was talking to Tara from Granada, and she was like, "Hey, you can't tell anybody about this, but I figured you of all people would want to know. I think I'm going to be able to book Deep Red for this show in July at Granada." And I was like, "You're lying. I just talked to them a couple weeks ago, and they said there are no shows coming." She was like, "No, I'm serious. I think it's going to happen." Because Rosegarden was going to play that show too, right?
And Scott had made me promise that Rosegarden or Duel would never share a bill with Deep Red. But I was like, Scott, this is perfect. Like, Deep Red's a huge band. Like, it's going to sound massive. Let's play our first show at the Granada. Come on.
Yeah.
So that was going to be like the one exception to that rule.
Who knows? Maybe that will.
I'm sure that show will happen. I'm sure all this or most of the shows that were going to happen will happen.
Oh, I would be willing to bet that too. Just a matter of. But no, I was really excited because I was for sure going to be at that show. There was no way I was missing that one. And you guys just released the EP.
Yeah.
The EP right before all this started too. So you kind of got fucked from like.
Every angle, yeah.
Yeah.
Deep Red was doing great. Rosegarden was doing great. I had like, I'm dating Alex from Sub-Sahara, and he's amazing. And so like that was going great. And like everyone in my band's happy. Like no one's like toxic person. Like and like my job, like it was like, woo. And then we got all cut down to our knees. But like I don't think that I'm alone in that. I think that there have been a lot of people who felt that way. I mean, not even like just my roommates included. So like, I don't know. We're all suffering in this together, and it's I think really important to remember that it's not all about you, and to remember that everyone is dealing with the same amount of grievance. So.
Absolutely.
And some people have it way worse than we do. I mean, I feel insanely lucky that I'm quarantined with people. Like a year ago, if this happened, we would all be quarantined in separate apartments, and I know it wouldn't go well. So
yeah,
I'm just happy that we're all in this weird, big, spooky house, and we can like see each other every day and hang out with each other every day. And
yeah, you're lucky.
I feel very blessed.
I left. I live alone back in Dallas, and I left on. I think it was Monday of this week, Sunday. I don't know. It was earlier this week, because I don't know. I just kind of feel like things are moving a little too quickly there with reopening, and I didn't feel safe. So I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that I had a place to go where I felt safe.
Yeah.
So I came to Kentucky because my dad lives here.
You're in Kentucky?
I'm in Kentucky, Lexington,
cool.
Kentucky. And I just drove. I just was like, I'm not waiting to see. I know there's like talk about the reasoning for starting to open things back up is, well, we have to open things up to see if it'll get worse. I'm not like willing to be a lab rat in that. So now I had to get out of there, and I'm lucky that I can remotely.
Remotely,
so,
yeah.
But Yeah. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think it's too soon to open? What are your thoughts on everything?
Well, I mean, okay, like the only thing that I'm a perfectionist about in my life is Rosegarden. Everything else, I'm very like the kind of person I am in Deep Red, which is just go like, and I'm fearless, but I have to constantly remind myself that like just because I'm not at risk and my immediate family isn't at risk and my friends aren't at risk, that doesn't mean that there aren't people who are valuable and wonderful and that we love that are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I respect the fact that things are closed, and the things that are like, I'm not going out and sitting down at a restaurant and eating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm
Yeah.
also not afraid to go to the grocery store. And like, I wear a mask out of courteousness. Like, I just, like the little things.
Yeah.
I'm waiting patiently for this all to blow over. I know that I'm safe, so I'm just trying to be respectful of everybody else. So, I mean, we thought before it started to get really bad and we started to see the magnitude of it all, I was like, well, we'll keep doing obituary. Like, fuck, like, like, I was just being really punk rock about it. And then it kind of rolled around, like, got closer. I was like, oh, no. Like, we're not doing obituary. And like, the last couple months, I didn't feel the need to post this month that we're not doing obituary. I feel like it's a given.
Yeah.
I don't think, and I thought about doing one in May. Well, it's May now, so I meant last month. But like April, I didn't feel the need to say. Now I had thought about doing it this month because bars are opening back up, and then I was like, no, I can't. I can't have 60 people in my house and keep them all separate and safe and apart. And then it was like, well, we could do like very limited capacity. But then it's like, I could potentially have very limited capacity of just strangers meandering around my house in fog. So I was like, like, no, no.
Are you still? Well, you guys released the single.
Yes.
But I mean, have you pretty much decided that everything else is going to be put on pause, or that's another thing I've seen.
No, we're going to keep releasing. Okay. We're going to keep our release schedule the same because in my opinion, there's like really nothing holding that back, and people are never more likely to listen to your music when they have nothing else to do. So we're going to keep releasing stuff the way that we initially planned. Like I said, we didn't initially plan to write an EP and do that and release it. We're very excited about it. We feel like part of the reason I think we're so excited to release something so fast is because it took us so long to do Martyr. So we kind of want to create a new reputation in that and not wait 2 years between releases. We want to just keep releasing constantly. So I think it would be safe to say that you'll probably see something new from Rosegarden every 6 to 8 months at this, like from now on.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that we've all kind of moved past holding on to things, all of us as a band, just out of frustration, pure frustration with the way that this all happened.
Yeah. And so speaking to that kind of, I guess, I mean, do you keep songs, like in the vault, or has some of this been written since this all started? Like, how do you approach?
2 of the songs on the EP were recorded or were written 2 days before.
Wow.
Yeah, and one of them, oh, cool. Okay. So one of them, Aaron Morales sings on with me, and it's like pretty much a duet.
That's dope.
Yeah, and it's like a whole song about like nostalgia and being happy that you had somebody in your life, no matter what you guys went through. Like it's like you're happy that you knew them, and so he sings that song with me, and it feels very poignant, especially now, like looking back on all the memories that, like, especially I feel like the generation. I'm gonna get emotional. I feel like especially the generation that I've been blessed to be a part of in the Deep Ellum scene.
Mm-hmm.
is really, really, really special. And so I wrote that song kind of in particular to immortalize that. It's like I wrote it kind of for myself when I'm like 60, you know? Like I like go back and listen to it and cry.
No, that's another good point you bring up too. I was telling somebody right before this all started that the Dallas music scene was really, to me, it felt like really about to have a moment because it had been so strong and thriving for a while now. And like you said, there's really been like this time and this in Dallas, the stars kind of felt aligned to me, or like they were about to align.
I agree.
And it sucks that it kind of just took a shit on all of that, you know?
Yes.
And not even just with like, you know, like rock music. Like there's a lot of like underground rappers that I felt like were really coming up. It's just all across the board. It felt like the music scene had like a really healthy heartbeat. And that's not to say it won't when, you know, things get back to normal, whatever that's going to be. But it really felt like things kept moving forward. And it, whether we like it or not, you know, there's been a pause put on that.
Yeah. And it's tragic. Like I know so many people that lost just as much as we did. Like, and it sucks. And I mean, my heart goes out to especially like small venue owners right now. I can't imagine a more terrifying time. I just cannot. Like, and I don't know. I feel like it's a really good time to put our money where our mouths are. We're like, this is a community, and we love everyone and we support everyone in this community. It's like, okay, like those of you who have been working, like I know you have enough toilet paper. Like, come on, like let's toss some around. Yeah. And I think that's really important. I mean, we've been crowdfunded before, and it saved us. Like, absolutely saved us, and we're so grateful for it. And we think about it every single day. Like it is something that I am eternally humbled and thankful for it. And I think that giving back to that and making sure that like I do what I can to promote like where other people are needing help and providing help where I can is really important. So
no, yeah, another good point you bring too is like there's always talk about like supporting local, but now is like really gonna, you either do or you don't, you know?
Right.
It's now we're forced to. It's not like you had the option to. Does that make sense? When you wanted to, but now it's now if we don't, we could totally risk losing local restaurants, venues, whatever. Even Central Track, like we don't know if we're gonna survive this. And it's been scary, but I mean, like you said, I mean, we're all struggling through this, and it sucks, but what can you do, you know? Shifting that though, on a lighter note, tell me about the Champagne of Bands.
Oh, that's awesome. That band
started right before this too, right?
We played the last three-link show before the end of the world, and it was the most difficult show to have happen. You have no idea. We went through, in the course of 5 days, Vera and I went through about 20 different lineups. And the day of the show, one of the bands dropped. We had to beg another band. They came on. Then the other band dropped. So we were without a bill again. And so like Alex and Manny played with their project Nothing Cool, and Champagne of Bands played, and Calculated Chaos, those amazing dudes, played with us too. So it was really fun and really incredible, and so I'll talk about the actual band now. But so it's called Miller High Life, the Champagne of Bands. And it's so the only reason the band was started was one day I was working and Vera got off earlier than me, so Vera came to visit me at Tone Shop, and she was like, "How are you doing, dude?" And I was like, "I don't know, I'm just kind of depressed." And she was like, "Yeah, me too." And she was like, "I'll tell you what, I'll come over tonight with a case of beer and we'll listen to punk rock, and it'll be awesome. We won't be sad. And I was like, you got it. Let's do it. So she comes over with the High Life, which we'd never had together. And I was like, why this? Because it's a really thick beer. I'm a small girl.
Yeah.
And it's like drinking Guinness to me. Like, I just can't. It feels like a milkshake. Anyway, so I have no shame. I drink White Claw by choice.
I love White Claw too.
Yeah, see, exactly. So anyway, she was like, because it's the most rock and roll of beer, babies. And then we just kind of hung out. We were listening to this band called Wildlife. And I was like, why don't we start a band and write music like this for fun and call it High Life, the champagne of band? Or no, sorry, I was like High Life. Miller High Life. And then we joked around about the parentheses around Miller. And we were like, yeah, so it's going to be Miller High Life. That was going to be the band name. But then when I was making the Instagram, there was no iteration of Miller High Life that I could make that wasn't taken. So I was like, the champagne of bands as a joke, because I thought that would be a hilarious tag.
I'm surprised it's not taken.
Me neither. I can't believe it. I felt very lucky. I also am the original owner and still the owner of Shoegaze Memes. So
that's you?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. You started it?
Yeah, it's only got 400 followers, man.
Only.
But it's actually like shoegaze memes, totally spelled out, and no one else had it. I got it first. I'm keeping it till the day I die.
That's amazing. I'm gonna make sure Central Track follows that as soon as I. Speaking of that,
but yeah, that was supposed to be Vera and I is I don't know, just whatever we wanted, goofy kind of rock and roll punk rock band. And we wanted to have t-shirts that said, if you don't fuck with Thin Lizzy, you can't sit with us. And we wanted to make it really kind of raunchy and goofy and very rock and roll. But then we wrote songs, and our songs were way serious. Our songs were angry and dark, and the music kind of took a harder quality to it than I think either one of us had anticipated, but it ended up being very cool. So I'm very happy. We still think we might change the name because it's very serious now. But I mean, how can you give up a name like that? The champagne of bands? I can't throw that away.
I lost it. It's so funny. It's champagne. If you do throw that away, I'm probably gonna take it.
You'll be the first person I call. I'll be like, hey, steal it.
And that did just start. I mean, or at least it started really. You guys started, I guess, taking it seriously. I don't know if that's the correct term to use, but right before the start, right?
Yeah, but it's been an idea that we just kept playing with, and then the Subhumans were gonna come on April 14th, and I was like, Scott, you should let us just play at 5. I don't care. I want to be on a bill with Subhumans, talking about High Life, and then we made it our goal to just be ready before then. And then he said that another show had come up, and it was way sooner, and that was the one that we did right before. It was end of March.
Somebody else is in that band too, right?
It's Charlie DeBolt.
That's what I'm thinking.
And Will, my bassist and brother.
So it's your faces then, everybody.
Yeah, it's a hilarious group of people.
Yeah.
It's really fun. And the first show we played, Charlie couldn't make it, so it ended up just being Will, Dylan, and me and Vera on stage. So it was just Rosegarden funeral party, switched instruments. I covered a Coxbar song. That's really what happened. It was so much fun, though. I love that band for so many reasons. I love writing punk music. It's made me a better lyricist to actually write good punk songs. You almost have to write you would if you were rapping, because there's really no melodic value.
Yeah.
Or there's very little melody you can kind of put into chants. That was my problem when I first started writing punk songs. was that like I kept having too much melody in my punk songs, and Charlie was like, no, you need to just like monotone kind of yell it. And so it's been a challenge in my writing, because now it was an initial challenge, and now I think way more about my lyrics. I think it's made me a better songwriter. Writing punk rock is the greatest thing I've ever done for my songwriting, for sure.
And so, I know you joked about this when I interviewed you about Deep Red. How do you separate like Leah from Garden, Leah from High Life, and Leah from Deep Red? Like, what do you have to? Does it natural, or do you have to? I know Scott said that when you guys recorded some of Deep Red, he'd be like, "Okay, I need less."
He does. Like, he gets mad at me for being too Rosegarden. I mean, I think that as far as writing is concerned, I'm into so many different things that, like, well, I actually just kind of named the three things. I'm into shoegaze, goth, and punk. So, like, I'm not into so many different things. But, like, I'm into each one of those individual genres kind of obsessively. And so, like, it's pretty easy for me to flip-flop between them, because it's like, oh, I'm going to write a song, and if it comes out a shoegaze song, it goes to Deep Red. If it comes out a goth song, it goes to Rosegarden. If it comes out a punk song, it goes to High Life. It's like, you know, my default is Rosegarden. Like, but when it happens so that I write a punk song or I write a shoegaze song, that's where it goes. So it's nice to have those outlets, because beforehand I would just throw it away.
Do you recognize pretty quickly when you're writing a song, like, okay, this is a Red song or this is a High Life song? You recognize pretty early on? Yeah.
Normally what it is if the song, like, it really kind of comes down to the melody. Like, if the melody is, like, really expansive, then it has to be Rosegarden, because I have a tendency to be really theatrical. And so, who would have guessed? And so, you know, like, if it is that kind of thing, then it's going to go to Rosegarden. And then, you know, if it's more, you know, monotoned and dreamy and dark, it'll go to Deep Red. And then obviously if it's a punk song, it goes to Vera. But I mean, what was cool about High Life is that, like, I couldn't, like, I struggled in the beginning really hard with, like, writing the chord progressions, like the punk rock chord progressions, because that just doesn't come naturally to me. And it comes super naturally to Vera, because that's, like, all she does. And so it was super cool for a second there when, like, High Life was just starting, because it was the first time that I'd ever just sat down with a person, them holding the guitar, and, like, me, like, holding, like, a journal. And, like, I was writing lyrics and coming up with a melody, and she was writing the guitar part, and it was just instantaneous. Like, we wrote, like, 3 songs in a night. Like, and it was just super fun, because they're stripped down and they're simple, but you, like, you know, you figure out the algorithm, and then you can obsess over making it like a pop song in disguise, which is my favorite thing about music. Is, like, you know, none of what I make is anything other than pop music. It's thinly veiled.
Okay, interesting. I actually wanted to ask you something kind of in that wheelhouse. How do you describe genre-wise? And I know we're kind of living in, like, a post-genre world, but how do you describe Rosegarden? I've always been curious about this.
I describe us flippantly as a goth band.
Okay, that's what...
You know, like, I mean, I feel like we have, I mean, and I think that I say flippantly because if I was to hear Rosegarden being the kind of goth elitist jerk that I am, I'd be like, that's not goth. Like, immediately. But then I listen to, you know, The Cure or Susie and the Banshees, and I'm like, or, you know, I mean, really with the new stuff, but not so much with Martyr. Martyr, I think, sounds like a new wave, like, 80s record, and because it is neo-80s, it falls into the vein of, like, post-punk. I think now we're closer to a goth band, and that was kind of the goal with this new EP, was to move us to a darker side. So now I would describe us as a goth band without, you know, kind of the tinge of guilt. But I think that Martyr era Rosegarden Funeral Party is definitely like a neo-80s new wave post-punk band. And now we're kind of moving into more of a neo-80s, like, or not, sorry, like a traditional goth band. I think we sound like, you know, The Cure and Susie and the Banshees and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah. But the songwriting is still very Rosegarden. Like, it's just mainly that I learned really how to play guitar. Like, over the last 2 years, I learned something. So I think that that's really evident. And I think that also we are stepping into our own more just because we're all listening to similar music now and stuff like that. So.
And I don't remember how you gave me a really good analogy for how you describe Deep Red
in comparison versus Rosegarden.
To Rosegarden.
Yeah, it's like Deep Red is how you feel in the moment, like when you are crying and you're fighting with your partner and you break that plate on the table, and then Rosegarden is like that feeling like after they've like left and like you've already cried for 2 hours and they won't pick up the phone, you know, and you're standing like you're in the retrospective. So like Deep Red is very in the moment, like that agony, that present agony, and then Rosegarden's kind of more of like a retrospective with like dried tears, but still like a shaky chest, you know?
Yeah. And so how do you, I know it's, you guys are still kind of in the early stages of Deep Red, and there's been like, I know Scott said he's like trying to move away from shoegaze because he thinks that that falls into like, there's a stigma with that, which whatever. I'm
all about the stigma, Scott. If you're still watching, I love the stigma. I want to be in a shoegaze band. If he changes this from, mark my words, if he makes this not a shoegaze band, I will be so mad, and I will look grumpy in every Deep Red shot. I will sit there like this. Because the fact of the matter is that we started this band because we both like traditional shoegaze and no one else does. Fine. Awesome. Like, let's keep it that way. I want to be in a shoegaze band. I've wanted to be in a shoegaze band my whole life, and no one wanted to do it.
Well, and it's not like...
Rosegarden was supposed to be a shoegaze band.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was. It was called Sway in the beginning, and it was supposed to be a shoegaze band. And then Will made that impossible. My very funky brother. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I guess that would make sense though for why you are itching for Deep Red to stay.
Well, and I was in Moonwaves at the time that I started it, so I was like in the psychedelic like shoegaze thing. I was like, oh, these will play with each other, and then I just kind of, it turned into something else.
Yeah. No, when Scott told me that, I couldn't see obviously, but I was on the other end of the phone like, damn it, like.
Yes, exactly. No, I'm there, and like Scott just sent me like a new song that's like he knows that I want to do shoegaze, so he made this like incredible like shoegaze warbly like My Bloody Valentine song, and
cool.
Yeah, so we have plans to stay shoegaze. I think Scott's trying. And he doesn't need to. I mean, I'm very happy making music with that guy. He's amazing.
Good.
He has not left his house like once.
He told me that. He and I have actually been texting kind of a lot since this has all started, and he and I think are both cut from the same cloth when it comes to that. Like, I'm very paranoid, and I got really, really, really sick, and now that I know everything, like of COVID, I'm trying to like tell myself no, that I got really sick at the beginning of January, and I had the flu so many times. Like, I know what it feels like, and I remember telling everyone I knew, like, this is not the flu. I don't know what this is. Fucking. And in retrospect, I haven't gone to get the antigen testing done to find out if I did have it.
Right.
I'm going to, because I'd really like to know. But so I told Scott, I think more paranoid than I would have been if this happened a year ago. Does that make sense? Scott, I mean, I'm telling you, it was the worst pain I've ever been. I was coughing so much that I was like gasping for air. And I don't want to be like dramatic, but there were a couple times where I really thought I was going to die. And I remember thinking like, holy shit, why can I not breathe right now? It was terrifying. So I think had this happened before I got sick in January, I probably wouldn't have been freaked out by all this.
so terrifying, though.
It was awful. And so I was texting Scott. I was like, yeah, I got way too sick to like fuck around with this. You know what I mean?
Right.
This, but I think he and I are. He told me has not left it unless it's to go to like the grocery store. Has not.
Yeah, I know. Me and Dodie keep trying to get him to come play music with us. That he doesn't want to.
He told me that.
Yeah, like I call him all the time, and I'm like, "Hey, I come over right now and give you coronavirus." I kid, but yeah. We think that Dylan had it when we went on tour in January.
Really?
No, I blame him for the outbreak in Seattle and San Francisco. I was like, you went to both those places and they blew up, dog. You had the Rona. His fault.
Well, and so you and Scott told me too that you guys have to wrap this up soon because Instagram's going to kick us off in like 7 or 8 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Scott told me that once this is over, though, that you guys are pretty much going straight to recording the next EP for
We are.
Exciting. When is have you guys talked about when that would drop?
No. I'm really like I said, because everything is so up in the air, I think we're just weird about making decisions. And maybe that's just me, but I'm just scared. And like I hold on really tightly to Rosegarden for sanity, and I think Scott does the same thing with Deep Red. So I think when it drops, we'll all be kind of determined on when we can afford to record, when we actually end up going in. Whenever Scott, we could go in right now, but Scott won't come out of his cave. So I mean, like, Scott's gonna stay in his cave, and then whenever Scott wants to come out, we'll record a record. He's going to be so mad at me if he's watching right now. He's going to start angry texting me.
Well, I'm excited.
I hope I haven't come across as insensitive. The virus is scary.
It is so scary.
Yes. Like, I just want to record music. I'm being a jerk now.
No, I get where you're coming from. Well, I'm sure you will be able to soon. Hopefully this ends also. I'm trying to be optimistic, but hopefully it ends or loosens up sooner.
It will. It will. Sooner rather than later. I have faith.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, and I know that you're struggling with not being able to my dog barking probably with everything that's going on. So hang in there.
Thank you. You too.
So many people are excited about Rosegarden and Deep Red and High Life. So just hang in there.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for talking to me.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for asking me to talk to you. It's been a real blast. Like, really, it definitely like shook up my quarantine, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, good.
I hope that you had fun. I hope our viewers had fun.
I wish we could go longer. And it's nice to talk to you face to face because I only met you once.
Yeah.
At the Music Honors.
Yeah, I remember.
We spoke over the phone about Deep Red, so this has been nice to get to know you better. So
ditto.
Thank you.
Very fun.
Well, we'll talk soon, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'll send you leaks.
Yes, please do.
All right, cool. Talk to you soon.
Bye.